What's going on, everybody? We are looking at another red day again, like the 5th day in a row, complete red. Bitcoin's down, a lot of the Bitcoin miners are down. There's a lot of fear out there, a lot of people are worried. Well, if you're a long-term investor, if you're looking at these long-term, you should be very excited for these prices. And instead of having to buy a week, 2 weeks ago when everything was overbought, when it seemed like we were going a little too far too fast, well, now we get to buy some of these stocks at oversold levels. And nothing changed about these companies besides stock price, so keep that in mind. But in this video, I'm going to look at Bitcoin and what's going on. We did break a trend, I thought I mentioned yesterday. We're also going to look at Iren Energy and some recent news there. And I'm going to bring up cleanspark in the chart and something interesting there as well. But let's get started on this video. If you guys like these, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Consider checking out the links down below for some free stocks and cryptos. Consider joining my membership to show your support, and let's get started. And first off, Bitcoin, we did break our ascending support, and the market did have an initial reaction. We went all the way down nearly to 40,000. And because of this recent drop for Bitcoin, we are starting to see some death crosses across the board on shorter term time frames. For example, on the 4-hour. But looking on the daily, we're still looking good. We still have those EMAs and they are pointing up. And while we are now under the 50 MA, they are still pointing in the upwards direction. They're still indicating that the bull market is not over. That said, Bitcoin can still see a continued short-term drop. We are not yet at oversold levels, although the miners across the board are. And just look at cleanspark. Once we broke this ascending trend, the market just sold it off. We've been just continuing to sell off. Anyone that was asking, should I buy now? As we are getting towards overbought, after we've seen hundreds of percentage in gains, you know, those people need to be asking, should I get in at this point? This is the time to be asking, should I get in? After we see a 30 to 50% drop. And a lot of people are concerned. A lot of people are losing faith. You see a drop like this, it definitely shakes people out. Well, I'm here to say I am even more bullish on cleanspark at $6 than at $12. The company is inherently more valuable the cheaper the stock gets. And looking at the RSI, we are now getting pretty heavily oversold. Anytime in recent history when you've seen the RSI like this, it has been great points to buy some cheap shares, buying during those swings downwards instead of those swings to the upside. Now, I also wanted to touch on halving. A lot of people are wondering, are rewards getting cut going to just cause a lot of pain for the miners? This is something that may already be slowly getting priced in. Remember, the market is forward looking. A lot of people are looking ahead, wondering, what's this going to do to the miners? Rewards are getting cut in half. This is a negative catalyst for the miners. But the big picture is Bitcoin is going to rise in price. Bitcoin is going to more than make up for the rewards being cut in half. And these miners will be sitting pretty in late 2024 and throughout 2025. But I wanted to show you what happened last halving. And of course, things are vastly different then than they are now. We were dealing with a once-in-a-lifetime world health emergency. We were dealing with massive amounts of money printing. We were dealing with everybody at home with nothing to do but to try to gamble on some stocks. So there are certainly a lot of variables when you compare the two halvings. But look at what happened in the last cycle, right after the Bitcoin halving. We didn't see a substantial drop. No. We went slow and steady upwards all the way throughout summer. And just going from that Bitcoin halving all the way to that year's summer, which doesn't even end that year, we're already looking at 100% gain. And upon ending 2020, cleanspark was up over 1,200%. Now, I don't necessarily expect things to play out the same. We are not yet dealing with massive amounts of stimulus, but we do have a Fed that soon will be lowering rates, that will be doing quantitative easing, and that will be injecting liquidity into the market if the economy starts getting a little bit ugly. But looking at last halving all the way to the end of that bull cycle, cleanspark gained 2,900% roughly, nearly 3,000%. And while I don't necessarily expect a 30x this cycle, I certainly do expect much higher prices by 2025 than being in the teens. I do think when looking back, people are going to miss these prices. People are going to say, wow, you're so lucky you got in at those prices. Why can't I get that lucky? Next, I want to talk about Iren Energy. I haven't touched on this one in a while. We did have a recent update. And Iren Energy secures their pathway to 20 exahash per second in 2024 via miner purchase options. And companies have been doing this lately where they get these basically call purchase options. So if the price of these miners go up dramatically, they can still buy the miners at a set price. I think that's a smart way to go, and when the bull market continues, these Bitcoin miners are going to cost more of a premium. It's all supply and demand. But here's some key highlights. Their immediate focus is completing their current expansion to 10 exahash per second. They have 20 exahash per second worth of new Bitmain T21 miners secured for 2024 at a fixed price of $14 per terahash. They also have 1 exahash of additional purchase to initiate growth beyond the 10 exahash per second. And these purchase options, they have 9 exahash of purchase options exercisable in the second half of 2024. Looking at their Childress site, this project can support expansion to 20 exahash per second by the end of the year, and their current capacity is a 5.6 exahash. And if these miner purchase options are exercised in full, their overall fleet efficiency could be 21.9 joules per terahash. Very efficient. A lot of the miners are in the mid-20s. But basically their goal for the first half of 2024 is to get to 10 exahash, with their goal for the second half of 2024 to get to 20 exahash. I think that's quite ambitious coming from a company that's currently at a 5.6 exahash. But if they can achieve this, this would be fantastic. This would keep them among the top miners. But let's face it, all of these miners have quite aggressive growth plans, and it'll be very interesting seeing how the list changes, who becomes the top miner in the next couple years. We are definitely going to see some of these names rotate in terms of largest market cap miner, largest miner for hash rate, things like that. But I want to look at Iren Energy on the chart, and I'm seeing this descending wedge. Typically this causes a breakout. Iren Energy is now getting towards oversold, and I'd say Iren Energy is looking pretty attractive. We saw our golden cross recently. We saw this huge pump and huge pullback. The moving averages are still pointing upwards. We're gonna have to bounce soon though. Otherwise these moving averages are going to start looking a little ugly. But I do think now's a great time to be picking up some Iren Energy. To me, there are just so many good deals on the miners across the board. It's really hard to decide what you want to put your money in. But let me know down below what deals are the best in your eyes. Have you been buying CleanSpark? Have you been buying Iren Energy? Picking up Bitfarms, picking up BTBT, TerraWolf. There are so many names right now that are getting vastly oversold. There are so many names right now that are anywhere from 30 to 50% down. And the time to be buying these, if you're looking long-term, if you're a long-term investor, the time to be buying these is when everybody's fearful, when no one wants part in this. The time to be a little cautious is when everyone's preaching to buy, is when we're getting overbought on the RSI, is when we're looking at a 200-300% gain in only a matter of a couple months. So just keep your wits about you. It has definitely been a pretty rough week. Hopefully you're taking advantage of what I see as some great deals that will be the envy of 2025. Thanks as always for watching, guys. Hope you have a good weekend.